Growing up, society taught you to follow the script by choosing a career path and climbing the ladder. But for many people, this promise falls flat. Work suffocates them and life becomes painful. Here, you're trapped in what I call the corporate cage. Fortunately, there's a way out. You can take control of your corporate job and unlock a life of freedom. I call this living uncaged. Hi, this is your host, Matt Doan. I'm a coach, creator, and entrepreneur. Uncaging people is my mission because it's been my exact life journey. This show provides you the stories, principles, and tactics to make it happen. Welcome to Uncage Yourself.
Today we're talking about escape velocity. This may sound very spacey, but bear with me. It has a lot to do with your growth in your career and your life. Now, before we get to that, I'd ask that if you're getting value from Uncage Yourself, please do hop on over to Apple Podcasts and or Spotify and leave a quick honest review. It really helps me out. Thank you so much, my friend. Okay, now on to the episode, talking about escape velocity. First off, do you ever wonder why rockets are so massive? Just think of them out on the launch platform, how much bigger they are than you. And why is there so much power required for liftoff? Well, physics aside, that's how a rocket achieves escape velocity. Escape velocity is the speed something must travel to escape the pull of gravity. When we try to exit the Earth's atmosphere, we have to achieve tremendous force and power to rocket past that into space. Let's talk about your gravity for a second. Your gravity is your current reality. It's your comfort zone. Do you see that? This includes your work situation, relationships, habits, goals, and more. This current reality, let's call it your current self, okay? If you're not happy with your current self right now, again, whether it's professionally or personally, you've got to blast through this gravitational pull that's keeping you comfortably in place. That's how you become a badass you, your badass future self, right? And it's that self-transformation that you're going through. It requires escape velocity. That's how you go from current self to future self. You don't do it just tiptoeing along with a few little efforts and well-intentioned goals. It doesn't work like that. You need some extreme rocketry, some massive power to get there. You need extreme power and you need a long-term focus. Getting from current self to future self requires you to blast through that orbit you have that's keeping you stuck, that gravity that's pulling you down. You've got to achieve escape velocity. So that leads to the idea of how do you generate this rocket-like escape velocity? Well, let's break that down. First off, realize that achieving escape velocity is something that you intentionally manufacture. It doesn't just happen through chance or wishing or just continuing on the default path. It doesn't work that way. Slow incremental changes to your career or life will not generate escape velocity. It takes bold commitment and radical changes. It takes saying no to the crowd. Remember, more of the same just creates more of the same.
Hey there, quick break from the show. I'd like you to head on over to uncagedworkshop.com. There you'll find a masterclass I built that I'm really proud of. You'll see how you can end corporate burnout, reclaim 30 to 50% of your time, and learn to be there for loved ones. This is my absolute life's mission, so I'm really proud to share this masterclass with you. Again, head on over to uncagedworkshop.com. All right, back to the show.
Here's what you need to do. Think about it this way. 5 things. You need to release constraints. You need to have permission to dream. If you're just drowning in your current constraints and blaming all the things that exist in your world, shitty job, lack of financial support, the lack of great relationships or mentors in your world. If you just blame all these things, you're never going to be able to achieve escape velocity. You need to release constraints. Secondly, surround yourself with radically different people and ideas. Your yesterday self, those relationships, those ideas, they served you then, but you've graduated the great majority of those. You need to surround yourself with new ideas and people. And you have to go out there and expose your brain to these things you've never seen before so that it helps you get out of your gravitational pull. Thirdly, program your mind to make escape inevitable to the point where you are locked in, fixated on your future self, just knowing that this is my only path. Damn everything else. This is where I'm going. That's how you make it inevitable. Program the mind day after day, write about it, talk about it, immerse yourself in that future self. Fourthly, I want you to get very specific on that future self, a very intentional aim, a clear, vivid, exciting picture of your future self. And then fifthly, I want you to commit to new life-altering behaviors. There's a lot to unpack there, but you know what I mean. You have to eradicate, delete all the nonsense, people, the habits that have been keeping you grounded where you are. You want to escape where you are. You want to achieve escape velocity. You've got to create new behaviors. Now, I'll use myself, as I often do, as a case study here. Those were 5 steps I just talked you through. I'll describe how I went through those 5 steps to get from current self to future self and really achieved escape velocity. So, many of you know my story. After 10 plus years in management consulting, life came crashing down for me. I needed to build a rocket that would help me achieve escape velocity, catapulting from current self to future self. You can imagine, right? Just close your eyes. You're stuck on the ground. You're just pissed off. You don't like where you are. That's your current self. You look up into high orbit and you think, wow, those beautiful stars, that's where I want to be. But you know you've got to achieve massive escape velocity with powerful engines to rocket you out of the atmosphere into the solar system where you can reach those stars. Hopefully you can see what I'm aiming at here visually. Now, here's what that looked like for me as I was going from current self to future self. I had to heal. I had to go through a lot with therapists and reconciling some of the values that I grew up with that I wasn't even aware of. They were just embedded in my head, and I needed to unwind those, question them, challenge them, and delete many of them. I had to set a vision, right? I had to work with coaches and mentors to get crystal clear on that future self, to set it and make it extremely intentional and inevitable because it meant so much to me. My why for going from current self to future self was so strong. It was undeniable. I also had to re-engineer how I showed up at my intense corporate job. So I actually reduced my average workday from 10 hours down to 5 hours. That was a massive move. It created so much space, whether that's time or energy or capacity. I created so much space for thinking bigger, doing other things on the side outside of the corporate job. I needed the stability and the resources of the corporate job, but to achieve escape velocity, I needed to create space from that job while leveraging it. I also needed to establish new norms and rhythms for self-care and family time. I knew that I needed to be a better husband and father and just honestly a better person for myself. You know, we talk all the time about living inside out. You've got to get to a calm, peaceful, clear state internally. There's lots of ways to do that. I won't try to prescribe exactly how for you, but you've got to live inside out and get to a calm state internally through new norms and rhythms. Then I started surrounding myself with really inspiring people, entrepreneurs, creators, authors. They just completely inspired me to want a bigger and brighter future. They rocked my world. I paid to get into masterminds. I had coaches. I followed people online. I actually reached out and went to book signings of my favorite authors. I spent tens of thousands of dollars to be in the vicinity of these people to see and immerse myself in what they thought, what they did. That's called skin in the game. Then I started experimenting for 18 months while still in corporate with various side businesses before locking on to this whole uncaged mission that you and I are conversing on right now. Essentially, I learned how to serve my past self. Again, this was part of my rocketry, right? I needed to have fun, exciting, powerful experiments that were like rocket boosters firing, right? This was all very important fuel for me to get from the ground to outer space. And then I also needed to create a financial runway to boldly leap from the corporate safety net and become a full-time entrepreneur. That was part of my escape velocity. I needed to go through these things, and I needed to have that vision locked into that future self, completely excited by that person that I could be. And I knew I was destined to be, that I was meant to be on this earth. So that's how I achieved escape velocity. I took those daily things, stacked over a couple of years, and really just built this powerful momentum, rocket boosters attached to me that just throttled me into outer space in a beautiful way. It's not to say it was easy or incredibly simple, but that's the best way I can summarize looking back on how I went from current self to future self and was a radical different person when I got there. And that's where I'm talking right now, is as a very proud version of my future self, very different from who I used to be. So that's just my path. Of course, your circumstances, your aims are very different from mine. But if you're still listening to me right now, I know you want escape velocity too. You crave it in your soul. You've got this. You, my friend, are an astronaut. Let me know if I can help. Just think about the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Now, thanks for hanging with me today. One last thing I will leave you with. If you're ready to dive deep and achieve your own escape velocity, set a clear aim on your future self, make massive differences in your world, reclaim significant time, show up differently on your terms at the corporate job, start your entrepreneurial path, be there for family, be healthier. If you want to create this new version of you, I invite you to head on over to matthewdoan.com/talk. There, you'll be able to book a breakthrough call with my team. We'll go through 3 things on that call together. Number 1, we'll take a hard look at your current job situation and what's holding you back in life. Secondly, we'll dive deep and uncover the possibilities of what a massively better career in life could look like. And third, we'll talk through the exact step-by-step game plan for how you can get there. So head on over to matthewdoan.com/talk to book that breakthrough call. Thanks for the time today, my friend. We'll chat soon.
Hey, Matt here. Thanks for listening to Uncage Yourself. For show notes and more content like this, head over to uncageyourself.fm. And if you liked what you heard, I'd appreciate you leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Until next time, be well, my friend.